Greetings, my brothers and sisters, and welcome to another fabulous week in what I have coined Almighty August. And it's this week that I think things get almighty. We just had a powerful solar eclipse, the last one of the 2018 season, on early Saturday morning. And Sensei says this week things are going to heat up in a very passionate or emotional way. From my smartphone to yours, keep streaming for your weekly Namaste Today. Hello and welcome to Namaste Today. I'm your host and spiritual life coach, Sensei Christopher Witecki. Welcome back, my brothers and sisters. Namaste. Well, we're into the high tides of the heart right now. The sun is in Leo and the universe is encouraging you to get back into your heart. But this is not a one-year sort of thing. Right now with the North Node in Leo and the solar eclipse we just had in Leo, this is the biggest investment, or you could say gravitational nudge, that the universe has given us towards the heart since the years 1998 to 2000. In fact, where the North Node is right now was pretty much January 2000. So we're kind of at that point of literally coming off of the hangover of New Year's Eve. We realize we're in a new millennium and our heart is going, now what? Now what do we search for? We lived through the New Year's. What do we do now? And I think although the universe has given us so much energy or motivation to chase after our heart, most of us don't know what we want. And that's going to be the focus of this show, I think, and this week. So in our upcoming segment, Soul Collective, I'm going to talk about how all the planets seem to be a big conspiracy to point you to the heart and how you're going to feel out your dreams this week. And then, later in our tea time, I'm going to dive deep for all 12 signs about where the universe is telling you to let go and withdraw from. But first, let's take a look at the week's moods and your zodiac weather. This zodiac weather is from Monday, August 13th to Friday, August 17th, 2018. Looking at your 5-day moodcast. Seeing the week at a glance, it starts out sensitive and it just gets more and more sensitive. Let's drill down. On Monday, it's cloudy, overcast, and hyper-aware. Step 20 rules the day, bringing us into Chapter 3. And the moon in Virgo makes us very picky. On Tuesday, it's Love Fest Day, the most powerful day of the month to love yourself and others. I predict sunny and optimistic, and a moon in Libra opens your heart in a fair way. On Wednesday, it's sunny and quantum. Expect the unexpected. Step 22 rules the day, and a moon in Libra makes us all pretty sensitive. On Thursday, it's sunny and clear. The Grandmaster Step 23 of intellect rules the day, and a moon in Scorpio probably makes you paranoid, but safe. And then on Friday, it's sunny and learning. Step 24 rules the day, where you elevate to your new heartfelt ascension, and a moon in Scorpio makes you feel safe. Looking at all the planets and everything going on, in my opinion right now, for the collective consciousness, it's about feeling the dream. In our next segment, I'll tell you where the conscious of the collective is and how to navigate it. Taking a sneak peek at this upcoming week, I think the Soul Collective is feeling the dream. And when I say feeling the dream, I mean kind of in both senses. You are trying to feel the dream, probably in the first half of the week, and then by the end of the week, you are feeling the dream. So we're trying to feel the dream. And we've been working, really, for at least 18 steps up to the solar eclipse. So this week enters into Chapter 3 of the Sun in Leo. Chapter 3 starts with the 20s, Step 20, Step 21, Step 22. All these twos is the emotion. This is why we're going to be feeling. In fact, all of the master paths involve mastering emotion, mastering your feelings in order to get to your destination. Now, I think in our case, even though we've been working on this thing for like 18, 19 days, none of us, I think, really know what our heart wants yet. And I don't think that's a bad thing, and that's kind of what I predicted anyways. We're kind of going through a major shift where in the last 18 years, since the North Node has been in Leo, you have been chasing after something your heart wanted. And you might have gotten it or not gotten quite what you wanted, or gotten it and turns out you didn't want it, or never got it because it was not realistic. Who knows? It's not really about winning or losing. That's an ego thing. We're talking about the heart. Quite often when it comes to the heart, just chasing after it is enjoyable enough. You don't always have to get it. Just chasing after it is fun. Chasing after it is creative. So this is a big deal. But I think because we are ending one chase and beginning another, okay, another 18-year chase, we really are shopping and don't know what our heart wants at the core. We probably know qualities of what our heart wants. We certainly know what our heart doesn't want at the core. And this week, I think it's about kind of fine-tuning, using your feelings to determine a greater picture of what your heart is looking for. Now, just as a disclaimer, we may not really see crystallization of our heart's intentions until the end of Virgo. Virgo is when things come into reality. Virgo is when things come into focus. And sometimes when it comes and starts to show up what your heart was wanting, you're like, oh, no, send it back. That's not what I wanted. So there's also that aspect of it as well. But I think when you are clear on the emotional tone of joy that you're looking for, when you're clear on the feelings you want to experience as a human incarnate, that's really when things crystallize and start to show up in solid form. So this week is going to be kind of a murky week. I think because of all the retrograde planets, just to kind of give you a heads up, we had a solar eclipse on early Saturday morning. I think this sort of moved your heart racing towards a certain direction, racing towards certain curiosity. Perhaps you have a hunch on what it is your heart might want, or at least you're ready to really start processing it. But we have 6 planets retrograde, including Mars and Mercury. And as we start the week, actually Mars goes to step 29. So the weekend it was at 0 degrees, it goes to step 29. But having the ego and the mind retrograded this week, again, means that as we search for our heart, we're kind of doing it from almost a limp position. Like, oh, maybe I want this. You know what I mean? Like, maybe I want that. So even though we're looking for a heart, don't expect to be super excited. Don't expect to be super jazzed up, because with Mercury and Mars retrograde, I don't think it's going to happen. But I do think our heart will be inspired as we start moving out there and feeling things out. And it's going to be about feeling. So let's walk you through a little bit of the week and talk about what the weekly forces are. First of all, the primary force of the week are your feelings. So you have to tend to your feelings. In other words, we're using our feelings to feel out what our heart wants. You can't bring childhood crap to the table at this stage. This is the master stage. You can't bring arguments. If you continue any of the painful moments of the past into this week with step 20, into your feelings, okay, I'm not saying things won't come up, but you work them out. You get over it. You don't let yourself dwell on it, because whatever you allow yourself to emotionally dwell on will have a huge impact, especially after a solar eclipse, on what manifests. So this is not a time for poor me. This is a time for yay me, okay? Another weekly force is we do have Love Fest Day on Tuesday when the Moon and Venus cross, and that's very helpful because Love Fest is the moment when our heart can open up. And perhaps one of the reasons why we haven't been able to understand what our heart wants is because our heart couldn't open up. We've had too much damage. We're processing too much stuff. We feel too numb, okay, with the retrograde planets. So Love Fest Day on Tuesday, your heart's going to open up. Love Fest is actually crossing Venus at step 7. The moon crosses Venus at step 7. That's kind of a spiritual intuition, giving you a clue about the relationships you belong in. Okay, so Tuesday tells you relationships you belong in. That could be the relationship between you and your Corvette, the relationship between you and your dog, the relationship between you and your wife, the relationship between you and your children. Okay, the universe is going to kind of give you a relationship check. So Love Fest is a big influence this week. It's going to give you a booster shot of joy. If you're going to do anything romantic, Tuesday is the day to do it. Another interesting force this week is that Mars has retrograded to step 29 this whole week. Now, 29 Capricorn, excuse me. It has been in Aquarius. This retrograde Capricorn is very different than Aquarius. Aquarius is like, where do I belong? What should life be? You know, it's very kind of flighty, Aquarius energy, non-committal, not too serious. We can put it down. We can pick it back up again when it's an Aquarius issue. So Mars in Aquarius was, where does our ego belong? Where does our ego want to play? Mars now in these high degrees of Capricorn, which is this week, puts kind of a serious tone on everything that almost kind of feels like, so what are you going to do? Okay, like you're going to kind of feel this like Mars Capricorn judgment over your shoulder from yourself. This is yourself talking to yourself, kind of feeling like you have to figure out what to do. So I want to tell you, you're going to figure out what to do, so don't worry. But also recognize that your ego is now looking for how to go about power, what strategy to use, what plan to execute. And I will give you this. The more you go to an elevated power position, the faster things will move forward. It's my opinion with Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn. If you try to move forward with power and it's based on slavery or based on hurting someone or based on manipulation or control or any of these lower vibration Capricorn control methods, not going to do well. You're going to find there's no wind in your sails whatsoever. On the other hand, if you are contemplating power structures that are win-win, I think you're going to find resources, people, communication all shows up because I think that's what the universe is supporting. But a force of the week is that your ego has this kind of pressure to figure out the big picture and figure out what we're doing with our life. And try not to succumb to that part of it, okay? Because it's obvious. We're going to figure out what we do with our life as soon as we know what our heart wants. That's what you tell your ego. Now, another interesting week-long event is that Jupiter is trining Neptune all week at the exact degree of step 15. Now, 15 is peace, 15 is balance, 15 is harmony. So 15 means that we're doing contemplation to find the line, find the middle, find the gray area, find what works best for both parties. And Jupiter in Scorpio means we find the boundaries that works best for peace. Neptune in Pisces says we find the path of least resistance or the spiritual way that brings the most peace. So this whole week also, there's this kind of question of, well, maybe I should be open to this. Well, that would put me off my path. Maybe I should close down to this. Well, that will put me on my path. So there's this conversation in yourself this whole week, in my opinion, about what's in and what's out. And that's a big part of the conversation. You're going to find that perhaps you have limited your options for what your heart can have because you've insisted on bringing things from your past cycle with you. Not everyone can come with you. Some people will join you at the next cycle, not this one. So you have to ask your heart, does this belong in my spiritual ship right now? And if it doesn't, maybe I should consider moving that to the outside. So the trine of Neptune and Jupiter is kind of a line of fate, especially about relationships, because 15 is the number of relationships and the number of successful relationships. So we're also keeping a very keen eagle eye to the appropriate relationships that are going to stay in the next cycle and the relationships that should not stay in the next cycle. All right, so that's part of it as well. Of course, a weekly force is Mercury is retrograde this entire week, but Mercury finally slows down to its stationary degree of step 11. We begin the week with Mercury at step 13, so in the beginning of the week, your mind might be blown, or you might have a really crazy theory about things, or you might want to try something totally effed up. I say do it. If your heart wants to do it, the universe says you should do it. But from that point on, Mercury moves to step 12 retrograde, which means our mind has a theory or it's blown. We learn, and then Mercury finally comes to step 11 by the end of the week, which means we figured it out, and now we're trying to how to figure it out, how to put it into harmony, how to put it in integrity. This is the last week Mercury is in retrograde in Leo. It will become stationary on step 11, and it goes direct on Sunday. So part of this week of feeling the dream, this is, I think we're going to discover the dream, because usually when Mercury goes direct, that's a point when the soul has clarity and is ready to move forward. So it's all about moving forward with that. Another interesting trend this week is that Saturn and Uranus are trine at step 2. Uranus is at step 2 retrograde Taurus. Saturn is at step 2 retrograde Capricorn. So this is a soul harmonic trine. What this means is, as you're feeling yourself through the week about where's the dream and where's not the dream, Saturn is saying, I'm not sure what the rules should be. Maybe we should go the rules this way. Maybe the rules need to go that way. So we're also allowing ourselves to change the rules with Saturn at step 2. And Uranus at step 2 retrograde is basically waiting to run with whatever Saturn's decision is. So in other words, it's like, well, maybe I should change the rules. So for instance, with Taurus, it's like, maybe I should change the rules and just believe in myself. And Uranus and Taurus would be like, well, if you believe in yourself, you're going to go up, up, up. So you're going to find that you're kind of thinking about how you might manipulate or change the rules and how that might change your trajectory for growth or your trajectory for abundance. So that's something we're screwing with all week long. And then finally, at the end of the week, we have a grand trine that begins to form. It's a dirty trine at first. It's a Sun in Leo, but it's trining Saturn and it's trining Uranus. So what this means is, as your heart gets clear, you start to triangulate exactly how to make it happen, exactly how to manifest it. So long story short, too late, I think that this is the week where we're going to feel our dream. And with all these step 20s, on Tuesday, we're feeling what we love. On Wednesday, we're feeling other feelings. On Thursday, we're feeling what we believe. On Friday, we're feeling where we belong. And then on the weekend, we get spiritual. What does our soul have to say? And then on Sunday, step 26 rolls a day, which means, okay, this is what I want. This is how I think I want to go forward. And it all really comes from feeling it out. So the last thing I'll say before we move on to our tea time is this week, it's all about feeling it out. One of the weird things about love, you may think you're going to have a good time and then you get there and you don't. And that's because the mind doesn't really know jack crap about joy, all right? It's the heart that knows. So you really have to feel what it would be like. Feel it out. Feel out what you have reservations about. Feel out what you're strong about. Feel out what you're excited about. Kind of put the mind to the side with this Mercury retrograde and see what things feel like. Mercury goes direct on Sunday, so your mind will absolutely have time to chime in. Now, with that said, I have some really deep, good advice for all 12 signs. Go steep yourself some tea, and let's have our weekly tea time. Hello, my friend, and welcome to our tea time. This week's tea time topic is seeking and retreating. And I get this topic actually from one of the many weekly forces we have going on this week, which I brought up, which is Saturn at step 2 Capricorn retrograde, trining Uranus at step 2 Taurus retrograde. To me, this trine actually is very powerful, and I'm actually going to bring in also Mars. Mars is also retrograde to step 29 Capricorn. So this week we have this powerful force that's trying to redirect us basically in the Capricorn energy. That's what it is. Saturn at step 2 is saying, hey, we need to reconsider our feelings about this. That's at the low end of Capricorn. And I think Saturn is saying that because Mars retrograde at step 29 is saying, yeah, figure out what we're open to so we can know what the big picture is, what the big plan is. And I talked about how you might have like some phobia that you can't pick out what the big plan is, these two. And Saturn then trines Uranus at step 2, and I had mentioned this earlier, but I think once we have the plan, then we know with Uranus at step 2 how we can innovate. Now, what this boils down to for the individual is seeking and retreating. I think the Saturn at step 2 is seeking. We're seeking to feel differently in our control mechanism. We're seeking to feel differently when it comes to control of our life. We're seeking to feel differently when it comes to the direction of our life. So we're seeking to feel different there. So there's this, that's the root intention, I think, that is part of this force. We want to feel different. We're not happy. We're not satisfied. And this, of course, is a different conversation than the one we're having with our heart and the Sun in Leo. Our heart and the Sun in Leo is saying, hey, what does my heart want? What can my heart pull off in this life? Saturn is going, yeah, not only pull off, but I want to feel different about how I control things. I want to feel different about whether or not my destiny is moving forward. I want to feel more empowered and less, behind the 8 ball. So it's this coordination, our whole soul. This is why this is a very powerful time, because we're reconsidering many different aspects of our consciousness at the same time. And when many parts of you are willing to renegotiate, the entire being can change shape. right? Versus just one little aspect of us or one little side. Now, I think we are seeking, like I said, to feel different about a certain thing. And the Mars in Capricorn is where we're retreating. So we're seeking this while we're retreating from old ways here. Okay, and I'm going to explain this for each of the 12 signs and what it means for each of the 12 signs, and you'll probably fully understand it. But I think it's a big part. So there'll be some retreating going on, I think, through the next 2 weeks. As our heart starts to get more excited about something, we start pulling back from the old friends. We start pulling back from the old hangout, the old bar. We start pulling back. So there's going to be this retreating going on. And if people start retreating from your life, it's not a good sign. Okay, they're just retreating. Okay, don't take it personally, as I said in last week's Friday Live. So there's this retreating and there is this seeking. And the third aspect is Uranus and Taurus, and it tells us why we are seeking, why we are retreating, and it's so that we can grow wherever Taurus happens to be. Okay, so it's a very complicated spiritual dance this week, but I want to help each of the 12 signs and also your rising sign. So I'm going to talk through each of the 12 and tell you exactly where you are seeking, where you are retreating, and where the new value system is for you. Why? What's the purpose of this? What's the purpose of moving forward? And as always, I'm going to put up here on the side the sign I am talking about so you can zip through to find your friends, family, or your rising sign, because I know this show is starting to get a little long. All right, and that begins with Aries. Aries are seeking a new future. That's what they're seeking. They want a new future. They feel a new future is possible. For them to seek this new future, they must retreat from their old future plans. So they're retreating from old career plans, old legacy plans, maybe old retirement plans. So Aries are retreating from the old plan, and they're seeking a new future. And the reason of this is because they want to grow their value. So Aries want to feel valuable, they want to have more money, they want to manifest more. And because they want to manifest and have more, they are retreating from the old plans and seeking a new plan. Okay? And that'd be true also for the Aries risings. Taurus. Tauruses are seeking a new belief or a new mission. So belief and mission are the same thing. They're searching for a new mission, a new crusade, a new belief, something they can put their hands on that's solid to believe in and then manifest around. Okay? Now, because they're seeking a new belief, Tauruses are retreating from old life purposes or old pledges to old causes. So maybe a Taurus was all about the Red Cross, or they were all about believing in helping the homeless or believing this. You'll see Taurus is retreating from these big mission statements now because they are seeking a new belief or a new mission. Now, the value is Tauruses are feeling a new you. They're feeling a new identity. The reason why they are seeking all these changes is so that they can reinvent themselves and put themselves out in the world in a new way. So Tauruses are seeking a new mission. They're withdrawing from the old mission, and they seek to grow in a new way. Geminis. Geminis are seeking new trust in themselves and a new trust in life. So they're seeking to trust at the core. And because they're seeking to trust, Geminis are going to start retreating from certain deals, from certain connections, from certain boundaries, maybe even from some certain intimate relationships. So if Geminis are pulling away from you, that's a bad sign. Okay, gotta say it again. So, but it's okay. You'll find another Gemini. I think we're going to do a lot of relationship changing right now. So Geminis are pulling away from situations, obligations, duties, responsibilities, boundary structures. The reason why they are doing all this is because they want to feel fearless. They want to end the worry in their life. They want to end the karma in their life. They want to feel more and more spiritually called. They want to feel more on their spiritual mission. So Geminis are having a hard time valuing their morale, valuing their spiritual mission, valuing their spiritual existence. And so they're going to retreat from certain boundary structures because they are seeking new trust. Cancers. Cancers are seeking a new way of being them with them. They're seeking to feel different in their own skin. They're seeking to have a new day with themselves. I think Cancers feel like they let themselves down by allowing themselves to get preoccupied in different situations or whatever. They're seeking a new deal with themselves. They're seeking to start over with themselves, no matter what age they happen to be. Now, because they're seeking for this new marriage, that's what I call it, a marriage vows, Cancers are retreating from relationships right now. Retreating from business relationships, friendship relationships, BFF relationships, and of course, romantic relationships. So if a Cancer is retreating from you, it's a bad sign. I just want to keep saying it. It's a bad sign. All right? So now the reason why Cancers are doing this is because Cancers want to find their value in the world. They want to know where they will be most valued. They're tired of being devalued in the world and not respected on the level that they deserve. So they're seeking a new deal with themselves, a new chance with themselves, and they're retreating from relationships. All right. Leos! Happy birthday, Leos. Leos are seeking new health and a new quality of life. So Leos are basically seeking a new life. They're not happy with life. They're not happy with the way things are going. They're not happy with the transitions that are happening right now. So Leos are seeking new health and a new life. Because of this, you'll find that Leos are retreating from lifestyle situations, retreating from places that they work, retreating from work agreements, retreating from daily routines, retreating from the gym. So you're going to see Leos pulling out of public situations, okay? The reason why Leos are doing this is because Leos want to find their true path, their true legacy, the legacy that will make them the greatest version of them they've ever seen. So they're seeking to have a successful legacy and career, which is why they are reconsidering a whole new life, a whole new way of going about it, and why they're retreating from certain lifestyles at this time. Virgos! Virgos are seeking new love, which is good. And really at the core, this is new self-love. So kind of like Cancers, Virgos have realized they haven't loved themselves well enough. They haven't been there for themselves. They've been there for others, but not for themselves. So they're seeking a new self-love. As a result, Virgos are on the retreat from old personal dreams that they once had. So they might have been chasing after a certain love, chasing after a certain career, chasing after certain heartfelt dreams that probably weren't really considering the needs of their heart. That's why they're retreating, because these were not serving their heart. Now, from this, Virgos are really seeking to find a new belief in themselves, a new purpose. So kind of like Tauruses, Virgos are looking for a new reason to be alive, a new purpose, a new mission. And so they're retreating from old missions, and they're looking at new ways to love themselves. Libras! Libras are seeking to feel renewed, okay? They're seeking to feel renewed. And you might go, what does that mean? Libras are tired of feeling the old same way. They're tired of the old feelings. They're tired of the way life always feels. They're tired of the way certain relationships feel. They're tired of the way they feel inside of their vessel. It ain't fun to be a Libra, according to the planets. Okay? Now, with that said, because they want to feel differently, Libras are retreating from old home security situations. Security situations are situations that made them feel secure. That might be hanging out with someone in the park. That might be a home that they lived in. That might be a town that they lived in. They might have been living with their parents. So Libras are retreating from home security situations because they're not happy with how they feel on the inside, and because they want to develop a new trust in themselves, and they want to manifest transformation in their life. So they're withdrawing from these home bases so that they can change their life and have a life that feels good to them. Bravo, Libras. Scorpios! Scorpios are seeking some new thinking. And you might go, what? Yep. Scorpios have been very circular in their thinking. They can kind of burn themselves out because their thinking is so intense, okay? And their attitudes and certain dispositions and certain mental mind games and certain worries and all this stuff, Scorpios just want to reboot and have a whole new way of thinking. They want to be peaceful in their thoughts and effective in their thinking and communication. So because they want to reboot how they think, They are retreating from old attitudes and retreating from old agreements. So if you had an agreement with a Scorpio and they're retreating, it's probably not good news, all right? So they are backing out of old contracts, old obligations, old promises, which they take very seriously. And the reason is Scorpios actually want to innovate all of their relationships. They want better relationships with everyone, better relationship with themselves, more high quality, valuable relationships with friends, lovers, of course sexual, right? So they want more enjoyable time on earth with other people. Scorpios are very intimate people if you know them. And so because of that, they're going to retreat from certain philosophies, certain ideas, certain attitudes, and they're going to change the way they think. Sagittariuses are seeking new abundance or new confidence. So Sagittariuses are not fully confident in themselves. They don't like the way certain things feel. They're not happy with certain manifestations and how certain things have turned out. So Sag and Sag risings are retreating basically from old manifestations, old projects, old commitments, old contracts. So if a Sagittarius quits a job or a project, it's not good news. Okay, like they're withdrawing from certain obligations. This is so they can get serious about what they want to manifest. And it's also because they are seeking to manifest a whole new quality of life. So they're pulling out of these financial manifestations, self-esteem issues, so they can build a new high-quality life which will take off once Uranus goes direct again in Taurus. Capricorns are heavily affected by this Mars retrograde because it retrogrades back into Capricorn. What Capricorns are seeking is a new feeling of strength. Capricorns want to feel strong in a new way. And because they want to feel strong, Capricorns are withdrawing from old images of themselves, old icon images, old archetypes that they were attached to, old behavior patterns they were attached to, old characters that they played for people in public or in business or whatever. So Capricorns will probably be very aloof and withdrawn because they're withdrawing from the old behavior because they want to feel a new strength inside. Now, what this is for the purpose of is for them to love themselves at a higher level. Capricorns are not going after the money anymore. They're going after the love. They're going after things they love. They want to find life to be loving. This is the new Capricorn, okay, that's under construction with Saturn and Pluto. So because they want a loving and joyful life and they want to feel new strength, Capricorns are retreating from certain behaviors. Aquariuses are seeking fearlessness. They don't want to have fear or worry anymore. They don't want to have certain karmic attachments anymore. They don't want to be connected to old, decaying situations that are tied to their past. They want to feel fearless. They want to feel like they have genuine faith inside their soul. As a result, they are retreating from old soul missions. So Aquariuses are retreating from certain spiritual practices, spiritual affiliations, old callings. They used to think they were meant to be a doctor when they grow up, but now they feel this, so their soul mission. And so you'll see Aquariuses kind of pulling out of situations that they are not spiritually aligned with. They'll probably pull out of anything that's not spiritual or sacred to them. So they're getting back to what's sacred. The reason why they're doing this is because they want to feel differently. Aquariuses want to feel good about themselves, they want to feel good about their life, and they want to just get that good feeling to just keep going up and up and up and up as Uranus goes through Taurus. So in order to have that happen, in order for life to feel great, they've got to retreat from the old spiritual karmic issues and focus on fearlessness. And then finally, the Pisces. Pisces are seeking belonging. They're seeking to find their place in the world. Pisces are kind of lost. They're looking for the fishbowl or the aquarium or the pond that they belong in. So they are kind of on that search. Now, because of that, Pisces are officially retreating from social roles, neighborhoods, jobs, whatever. Again, if a Pisces disappears, I hope you said goodbye because they're probably off to the new fishbowl. This is what it's about. Now, the reason why they are pulling away from the social roles because they have new thinking now. Pisces are starting to think differently. They're starting to have a different attitude, different curiosities, different intellectual development. So it's actually their curiosity, their desires to expand their mind and become wizards in their own right. That's what's actually having them pull away from certain social obligations and commitments and find where they truly belong. And I think for Pisces, where they truly belong is in a pond where the thinking is aligned around similar thinkers. So I think the seeking and retreating is all part of the dynamic gravity that's going back and forth for all 12 signs for the entire week. And I wanted you to just have those parameters inside your soul so that when your heart starts to identify with something that you might want, you can kind of throw it by this seeking and retreating test. Is it along what you are seeking? Does it support what you are retreating? If the answer is yes, you're ready to move on to Virgo. Now, with that said, I want to close with some good news and gratitude. And now for some good news and gratitude. The first good news is literal good news. It is dailygood.org. And this was sent from a viewer, Annie Kemp. Thank you, Annie. So grateful for this. Apparently, this is a site of nothing but good news. I went on this site. It has all sorts of feel-good, happy sort of information. You might check it out. I want to spread the light and spread the word. They call themselves News That Inspires. So do yourself a favor and visit them. Let's support our fellow lightwalkers. More good news. For people who may be living in the Portland, Oregon area, looks like I'm going to be in your neck of the woods on September 22nd and 23rd. I can't give lots of details yet. Mercury is retrograde. We're still working on this. But it's going to be a 2-day spiritual workshop where we help you come into your power Saturday and Sunday on the 22nd and 23rd. So if you're in Portland, Oregon, and you want to come see me, this is the time to come see me. And we're going to have I'm not quite sure, there'll be a dinner with me and other things. I'll give you details coming soon, but I want you to just mark on your calendar if you happen to live in Oregon. Another thing I want you to mark on your calendar, our final Love Fest of the year. Me and my partner, Melissa Walker, have been sponsoring what we call Love Fest. And these are just events that promote oneness. It's from oneness.care. In the last one, we were working on hemp and industrial hemp. We're carrying that on in this particular one because there's a lot to learn about the potential of industrial hemp and it helping the earth. So mark on your calendar. That's going to be on Sunday, September 9th. It'll be here in Denver, Colorado. And if you plan on flying out here or visiting from out of town, we take special care of you. Be sure to email us at support@seriousjoy.com and let us know that you're coming. Okay, so that's Love Fest on September 9th. And for my Serious Joy subscribers, first thing I want to say is if you're a Serious Joy subscriber and you show up in Portland, Oregon, or you show up here in Denver, I have a special gift for you. I give out special gifts to my Serious Joy subscribers, so it pays to be a subscriber. Not only that, but if you're a subscriber, you get year-round discounts on my readings and consultations. You get a daily audio pep talk from me, yours truly, 7 days a week I record this. It's kind of like a little radio show with me on it in the morning. Most people say they start their morning off with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, and me, just saying. You can join that. We have a great soul community, and we even take rock and roll gospel dedications. So if you haven't already found the wonder of Serious Joy, come on down and give it a try. It's just $3.99 for the first month. Visit seriousjoy.com. All right, my friends, I'm super excited. We have a lot of new things coming out. In fact, actually, I have some new features coming out in Serious Joy, but I can't really mention them until Mercury goes direct. So we'll put that off. Just stay in your heart this week, okay? Remember, it's about feeling that dream, and it's really about gradation of what feels better and what doesn't. This is a time of the year where you may find that you love this just a little bit more than you love that. And during this time of the year, that much more actually matters. So pay attention and feel the dream this week. And I'll be back 1 week from now. Until then, remember, I love you, friend. Live, love, be.